It's just crazy to me that we're in the best risk-adjusted time to buy Bitcoin ever, like in its history, right? We have the most incredibly bullish SBR announcement that you can imagine. ETFs, the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's marketing Bitcoin to the world. We have Saylor's strategy, like he's just raising another 21 billion. What is it? It's like he's racing to buy 1 million Bitcoin. We got corporations following his LBE playbook. It's Bitcoin has not changed, as I think John had said in the previous episode. Bitcoin is the exact same. It's just people are just still catching up to the fact that it's not. I think it's so interesting that it's still to this day considered a risk-on asset and still trades like a risk-on asset. But
one more point on that one, Hurley, on best time to buy risk-adjusted. I was tweeting this week essentially because in my head it is the best risk-adjusted time ever. One counterpoint in the comments that did stand out was in October 2024 when the regulatory shift happened that made way for the ETFs. I think Bitcoin was like 30 or 40K and very quickly ripped.
October 23.
Yeah, sorry, 2023. Yeah, exactly. And that's a pretty strong contender as well, because that made way for all the financialization. You could have maybe said the risk or the odds of an SBR went way up that day.
Sure.
Right? I thought that was pretty interesting. Otherwise, March 2020 is always the one I had in mind. 3-4K dip right there.
Oh, yeah, here, this one. Is that what you mean, Brandon?
Yeah, that looks like March. Oh, no, March 2020 was even lower.
Yeah, that was an incredible window. That was a phenomenal time where you could just really deploy capital into Bitcoin with very little concerns. And once again, it actually sold off after the announcement. Interestingly enough, like the spot ETFs got approved, it sold off, it then rallied for months on the ETFs. I think we see a similar thing with the SBR, which I'm very confident on. I think the market is majorly mispricing it.
Definitely. Yeah, I've never seen such a missed correlation between the two. It's crazy. And then we got this news. Take this with a grain of salt. It's a White House official told a room of crypto industry leaders this week that there should be no limit to the size of the U.S. government's strategic Bitcoin reserve. Obviously, that is true for us. And I think if you look at something like this that we've showed before, the White House came out and tweeted that they want to be the Bitcoin superpower of the world. If you take out their Bitfinex, the coins that I think belong to Bitfinex, they are under China. So you got to think that they're 100% going to be acquiring more Bitcoin and soon, right? Like it's got to be pretty top priority right now.
Yeah. Exactly. And they've said this, they've communicated this. I've talked to a lot of people working on this. There is real enduring interest in raising the size of this holding. Like what's happening right now is the volatility in the stock market is just weighing any sort of enthusiasm on Bitcoin. Investors are scared. But it's mostly that no one really believes they're going to make incremental purchases here. It's so outside the status quo. It's nobody believes it's going to happen, and it's completely not priced in. I would say it's like basically 0% priced in. And I think as soon as you see those first purchases start to roll out, the market races to price that in a hurry. It will really turn heads when the US actually starts buying Bitcoin.
I think in the short term, that's true. We announced we're going to buy, number go up. But I think the bigger statement, Hurley and I were talking about this pre-show, I think 80% of the SBR value is saying that we're going to create one, whether we incrementally buy or not, because it signals to the rest of the world that the game is on and you better play. I think the incremental buying, that's one more incremental step, and it's probably more bullish in the short term. Now, if the Trump admin really gets creative and tries to compete for Saylor numbers or something like that, of course, there's no ceiling on this thing.
So I agree. I think that first buy is really what says the race is on, because I think there's a way you can write off the current thing as just like, all right, they stopped selling the coins. They tossed a bone to the coin guys. It doesn't go any further. It's like a weird idiosyncratic Trump thing.
True.
That's how I view it. I don't think that's the right view at all. But I think people are writing it off like that. And I think the first buy, no matter what size, even if it's like we sell some of the foreign assets in the crypto stockpile and buy some Bitcoin with it, or we sell the stable coins from the crypto stockpile and buy the Bitcoin, I think people completely start rethinking it rapidly.
That would be the best signal to add on to the strategic Bitcoin reserve. Crypto stockpile separate is to sell all the crypto stockpile, buy Bitcoin. That would be ultimate. And I think, how could you not do that? Anytime you I remember I dabbled in altcoins for all but a couple months, and then immediately it was just, what was it? Ethereum, Cardano, sold them for Bitcoin, and it was like I was cleansed. So I think the government will feel the same way.
And they're not going to sell all of it. I would be skeptical that they're going to sell all of it. They won't sell the Ethereum or the Solana or the XRP. But I think there's a very strong argument they'll sell two parts of it. One, the stable coins, because why are you like, they don't even have a changing market value. You got $300 million in stable coins in there. Why not just sell it, buy the Bitcoin? And then I think there's this interesting thing with the foreign assets. So why are we, the United States of America, holding Binance coin in our strategic stockpile for an East Asian exchange company, right? That's not an American asset. That's a foreign asset. And so sell it. It's some $30 million, buy the Bitcoin. I think like the reason I'm saying I just don't think the full thing gets liquidated, at least at this time, is just because Trump's obviously still trying to like play friendly with the American crypto companies.
I had this in yesterday's video. I was putting out how, I mentioned earlier how it seems like Trump is, the Trump admin is like trying to thread the needle with the economy and trying to, like, with the tariffs, reorganize the balance of the trade. And they're trying to do all this stuff, fix all the levers to fix the economy. It's like their Hail Mary, right, to fix US dominance. And the real Hail Mary, whether they realize it or not, is their Bitcoin strategic reserve. And that's what I feel like can really bolster the United States to be the superpower for the next 100 years or more. And Saylor had an excellent presentation at, what was it, the BPI summit earlier this week, where he goes through all the different, if they just hold the 200,000 Bitcoin or so that they have, and then all the different plans, and then it culminates in his superpower plan, which is pretty crazy. But
so I think there's a really interesting tie-in with Trump policy and Bitcoin in this kind of, I think it's not, people don't directly see it. So what we've seen in the last few weeks, right? Like the dollar has come down, the dollar has weakened, and they've wanted that. That's fine. That's been the goal. And you've seen huge capital inflows to international equities. So European stocks did really well. Chinese stocks did really well. If they actually interrupt this kind of dollar recycling, dollar milkshake into US assets, and even foreign investors take 30% of their money and go home and do their own stock markets, that's actually a really interesting bull case for Bitcoin, where the dollar entering a more level-ish playing field with some other currencies, US assets not having this incredibly privileged, unique position, and there's a little more capital rotation going on. I think that actually is a strong case for Bitcoin as this kind of neutral global asset that in changing economic times, you can make a case to hold.
this is another one we should take a grain of salt. I think it was a Reuters article about that Russia is reportedly using Bitcoin and stable coins in oil trades with China and India to skirt Western sanctions. Even if this source is not accurate, I would not be surprised if this is in talks or at least happening or will happen in the near future, because it just makes sense for them to do that.
Agree. They've been flirting with that for a while. I feel like I've seen that exact headline 5 times in the last few years.
Yeah, I think even Putin has talked about it generally.
Yeah.
But
one more on the strategic Bitcoin reserve. So I think it is breaking out of Bitcoin circles. If you saw on Twitter recently, some guy named Peter Schiff started a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And for some reason, people donated their Bitcoin to that clown. And it only took him about 1 week after acquiring some Bitcoin to start shilling shitcoins.
Are you serious? I didn't see this.
People sent him Bitcoin? Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he goes, I'm creating a strategic reserve, budget neutral. He was cheeky, playing off the US not spending their own money, and he thought he'd do the same thing. But in my head, this is his soft pivot, right? It's so defensible because it's a mocking of the government, right? And then he's going to end up with some coin. And then a year from now, he'll have a big stack. And
I responded to him because he said, here's my Bitcoin address. If you want to donate to my Bitcoin strategic reserve, please do. And I said, Peter, post your address so that we could send you gold because we'd like to contribute to your gold reserve. And I didn't get an answer. It's weird.
That's good.
That's so funny.
That's good, man.
But yeah, just the narrative shift, man. Like I just remember when I first got in, it was like that was the biggest thing. I'll never forget my father-in-law saying, "Oh yeah, but the government's going to ban it. They'll never allow it." I'm like, "Sure, interesting." And it's just like where we are now compared to that, where it's like the U.S. government is embracing it, and not just embracing it, but like educating people that Bitcoin is a valuable strategic asset, that there's a lot of upside for First Nation movers to do it. And you can't get any more bullish than that. You can't get any more, like the Overton window has just been exploded.
It's really actually interesting how much shifted on that executive order. And I think people they haven't clocked it yet because the price basically immediately dumped after. And I think just the sentiment from the price is just overrode everything else. But yeah, the things, they drew a clear line between Bitcoin and crypto. They said Bitcoin's a valuable asset. It has strategic properties. You had David Sachs doing laps on TV. They've made more comments about Bitcoin since then than they even made on the stock market in the first few weeks. They've been talking about it And that's, to your point, like that's such a reframing compared to these like early days of Bitcoin. It's like the government's going to ban it. They're never going to let it happen. They're going to shut it down. And we're seeing the opposite of that. And as soon as these kind of macro pressures let up, again, like I think you see Bitcoin do very well.
One addendum there is, how funny is it that we used to have to say, hey, even if the government tries to ban it, Bitcoin's going to survive, right? That was the posture. Now the posture is, even if the government goes all into Bitcoin, Bitcoin will still survive.
Yeah, there's like this mentality too that that if governments start buying it, that it's co-opted too, which is just comes from a clear just misunderstanding of how it works and why we would want Bitcoin in the first place, because it takes the control mechanism of diluting the supply out of the hands of people that hold a lot of it. It's just game theory, man. Like Bitcoin's for everyone. I said that in my video yesterday as well, that it's for the individual, it's for the family, it's for the corporation, it's for the nation state. They need it too. And I think the U.S. is going to, in this administration, I have high hopes that I really do believe that they're going to come to a point and realize, with the people that they have in the administration, they're going to come to a point where they're going to realize what they need to do with this thing.